Hey, what's up everyone? The PlayStation 2 is home to some of the greatest video games of all time, but with every treasure there's bound to be some, well, trash. Today we're taking a deep dive into the absolute worst PS2 games ever released. From broken mechanics to laughable graphics, these games earned their spot in the Hall of Shame. Let's get started. Let's kick things off with Catwoman, a game that might have 9 lives, but we wish it didn't. Based on the equally panned 2004 movie starring Halle Berry, this game is riddled with stiff controls, awkward camera angles, and a frustrating combat system. The most hated part? Its poor level design that made even simple tasks feel like a chore. Critics and fans alike gave it claws down, with many calling it one of the worst superhero games ever made. Next up is Godai, Elemental Force, a game that promised elemental ninja combat but delivered stiff animations, repetitive gameplay, and a nonsensical story. The platforming is floaty, the combat feels sluggish, and most players were left wondering what the point of the whole adventure was. Critics universally panned its lack of polish and overall design flaws, calling it a forgettable disaster. What happens when you take a classic movie and try to turn it into a game? Well, if it's Reservoir Dogs, you get a mess. Despite its iconic source material, this game offers clunky controls, uninspired missions, and a broken cover system. The most despised aspect? The absurdly bad AI, which often makes enemies run in circles or do nothing at all. Critics agreed, this game should have stayed in the vault.
Don't make me shoot him!
Okay.
Stay put!
That's the bastard!
Ah! Drop your weapon!
Please!
But now, I finally have a chance to finish it.
Horror fans were in for a disappointment with Demon Summoner. This survival horror game was anything but scary. Poor graphics, unresponsive controls, and voice acting so bad it's unintentionally funny.
I was shocked when I discovered that my most hated enemy had a twin.
The most disliked part? The constant frame rate drops and graphical glitches that broke immersion. It's a horror game in all the wrong ways.
I knew that Kainos and his brother Ranius would be starting their ritual soon.
Despite the success of the HBO show, The Sopranos' Road to Respect fails to capture the magic of the series. What we got was a bland beat-em-up with minimal plot, terrible voice acting, and repetitive gameplay.
What happened? Joey? Are you guys okay?
The most criticized element, its shallow missions that boiled down to nothing more than button-mashing brawls, completely missing the depth of the show's mobster drama.
Can't we all just get along? Quick or painful, take your pick.
Surf's Up, or maybe not. Surfing H30 is widely considered one of the worst sports games ever. The controls are horrendous, making it nearly impossible to pull off tricks or even stay on your board. The most hated feature? The game's physics, which are completely unrealistic and lead to some frustrating gameplay. Critics wiped out hard with this one.
Wipe out!
Based on a cartoon, Sitting Ducks was supposed to be a lighthearted adventure, but it ended up being a shallow, broken mess. With clunky controls, repetitive tasks, and overly simplistic missions, there's little to enjoy here. The biggest problem? It feels more like a low-effort cash grab rather than a real attempt at making a fun game. Critics roasted it for its lack of creativity and gameplay depth. A game that tries to mix first-person shooting with hand-to-hand combat? Sounds cool, right? Wrong. Fugitive Hunter. War on Terror delivers laughable AI, generic gameplay, and embarrassing boss fights. The worst offense? The final boss is, you guessed it, Osama bin Laden, which led to the game being seen as in bad taste on top of everything else.
Smoke you out 1 by 1.
It's out of time! Hello, everyone. Today's match, Japan versus South Korea.
There aren't many volleyball games out there, and after Women's Volleyball Championship, we know why. This game suffers from poor character models, stiff animations, and downright broken mechanics. The most hated feature? The lack of any real gameplay depth. It's boring, repetitive, and unresponsive, making it an absolute slog to play. Imagine Grand Theft Auto, but strip away the fun, freedom, and polish, and you've got crime life gang wars. This game is repetitive to a fault with its boring missions and uninspired world design. The worst part? The combat system, which makes gang fights feel more like playground squabbles than epic battles. Critics gave it zero respect.
The Outlaws is a bunch of jokes, yo.
And that wraps up part 1 of our look at the worst games of the PS2 era. These titles may have left us scratching our heads or smashing our controllers, but hey, it's all part of gaming history. If you enjoyed this dive into the lows of PS2 gaming, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps us out. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss part 2, where we'll uncover even more games that didn't quite make the cut. And let us know in the comments. What's the worst PS2 game you've ever played? We'd love to hear your picks. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.